fro.
Hi, this is Kristine Lackey with Untangled Mom. That's Kristen Katz, and apparently she has a fro, is what she was just sharing.
Yeah.
We were supposed to start 10 minutes ago. I don't do technology well. I messed up, but we got it.
We're here.
We're here. Untangled Mom. What this is Untangled This is going to be a new interview series with moms from around the world, discussing with them what they are getting right, what they are getting wrong, and how they are repairing the mistakes that they're making in order to have happier, harmonious homes. And repair is a part of intimacy and creating trust and truth with our kiddos. So, Kristen Katz from Baltimore, one of my most favorite people in the entire world.
Oh,
very true. She is mama, wife, woman, teacher extraordinaire. I have learned tons from her over the years, so much from her over the years. She does she shares with me a lot of things about her home, a lot of things that she learns. And I'm so happy to have her here today for my first interview. I think we've been discussing this for like 3 years now. I'm like, I swear I'm going to do this and you're going to be my first person. And so we're finally doing it.
yay.
Yay. So one of the main things that we want to start off with is, what's your superpower? As a mom, we all have a superpower. We all have our deficits. What's your superpower as a mom?
Oh, it's such a good question. One of my superpowers is I'm pretty funny. So I can turn tricky situations into laughter pretty easily. So that's one. Another one, which I've had to cultivate through working with you, right, is knowing when kind of to ask for help.
Yeah.
Like when I don't have it all together and when I'm losing it, it's a good time to like ask for some help, that I don't have to do it all alone.
Who do you ask help from?
Let's see, you. I talk to my husband. We have a really good relationship where I can talk to him about what I'm going through, or if I feel like I'm spinning out, I can bring that to him and he'll listen. I have some listening partners. Those are people I exchange listening time with, and they just hold space for me to go through whatever big emotions I'm feeling so that I can be freed up. Those are like my main crew of people.
So I ask because sometimes we can get so caught up in our stuff, and just being able to speak it out helps with so much, right? Yeah. And that's a big part of what this conversation is about too. I was thinking about this morning, you know that saying, you are equivalent to the 5 people you surround yourself with. And I'm so misquoting that quote. You can measure yourself, maybe it's something like that, by the 5 people that you surround yourself with, because we sort of absorb what each other is doing. And we do it in ways that we're not even paying attention to. You know, it's unconscious of like, because a lot of times, like when we work together, I learn so much from you all the time. So you may come to me to say, hey, can you help me work through this? And then as we're walking through a situation, I always hang up the phone with, oh, that was good. I'm gonna use that next time, right? And I think for us parents, especially women, I think what happens oftentimes is we just think we're screwing up so bad and we don't want to talk about it. And then we go in the other room and we're just like, I just suck. And it's not true. You said something too that I love, the fact that you're funny and you're saying that helps with certain situations, right?
Yes.
How?
All right. Well, let me give you I have an example. Just before getting on this call, my husband was wrapping up his work and I hadn't really spent a lot of time with my youngest, right? So I have the 3 daughters. My youngest just turned 4 and I've just been busy doing stuff for the house, getting kids on Zoom calls. And she came to me and she's like, I want to watch TV right now. Like really from a place, I wouldn't call it anger, but she was starting to get revved up, get in that direction, right? And she was stomping her feet. And I said, well, when daddy comes down, in a few minutes, yes. And she couldn't hold that, right? It wasn't enough. She wanted it right now. And I could tell she missed me. Like I knew that. And I knew that like the anger had nothing really to do with the TV. She wanted right then and there. And I said, really? Right now? And she's like caught off guard. She's like,
Yes.
yeah. And I said, if I can catch you, I'm going to give you 10 kisses. And she just like giggled and ran away. And we were just like running a little bit in the living room. And then she picked up a blanket and she tried to like hit me with it.
Yeah.
Still feeling that like, I'm testing you. I want to see where this is going. And I picked up another one and we just kind of went back and forth and she was just laughing.
Yeah.
So I think, it's not always that I bring humor to diffuse a tricky situation. It's because I knew like I could take a second and I was like, oh, well, it's not really about TV. She's not really mad at me about this. She misses me. She wants to connect with me. It's not a teachable moment like that. That's not really where the nugget was. It was like connecting with her and being with her for a few minutes to like fill her bucket, so to speak.
Yeah. And I think the operative word there is connection. Oftentimes as parents, our kiddos do something in the background. We're like, geez, like really now? Like and we go to, what's the problem?
Yeah.
As opposed to, oh, you just want to connect with me. And for kids, it's the most magical thing. If we actually start thinking about it and looking at it differently, it could take 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
It's all it takes. It's just, do you see me? Like, do you see me? Because if you do and you let me know, then I feel safe enough to go do my own thing.
Yeah.
And we call that a pattern interrupt too. And finding those moments of like, how do I interrupt this pattern of behavior and connect with my kiddo? And the pattern isn't just theirs, it's ours too. Mm-hmm. Our pattern can be, oh, they're just bugging me. Oh, they just need something again. Oh, there's a problem. We need to start changing that pattern too, to be like, nope, it's just a 2-minute moment of connection and everybody's gonna be great. So your superpower is being funny.
Mm-hmm.
And talking it out. What aren't you good at as a mom?
What am I not good at?
What's your challenge?
Oh man. What am I not good at? I think, especially now being home for like 30 something days, it's been a little bit harder to filter out the noise of all the expectations. So of being like really clear about what's working well in my family.
Yeah.
And not concerned about what's working well with everybody else and what does everybody else think about how much iPad time my kids get or the meal that I make or the amount of nature that we're getting, right? Like I have a tendency to look out at what everybody's doing and thinking if how I measure up. Am I measuring myself up well?
Yeah.
And that's a slippery slope because it can go down so many other pathways, right? Like, oh, and look for more evidence of where else am I not doing something well.
And then what does that cost your family?
Oh, girl. What is say everything, but to be specific, it like I'm not playful then. So when my daughters want to come to me, they're not getting me, they're getting like me, like all in my head. So I can't really hear them. I'm not like enjoying being a parent. I'm not enjoying being in partnership with my husband. I can't like navigate it well. Like I'm a hot mess. Like I'm like spinning around. I'm like sucking stuff up into my mess. That's what they get. It's true. Not pretty.
No, it's not. And it's probably what we all do, especially, and we all do it when we go into comparison. Because when we start comparing ourselves to other people, we're just creating pain. We just are. At the end of the day, I'll say one of my deficits, one of my biggest challenges, I don't bake. And I don't play card games. My brother terrorized me as a child, never let me win anything, made me feel horrible. So I remember I was probably like 8 years old. I was like, that's it. I'm never playing a game again in my life. There's no way I'm doing this. And it's, you know, and do I need to work through that? Yes, I do. And I own that. I do. But that's not the point. The point is, as a mom, I don't bake and I don't play board games. And I've been very clear with my kids. I'm like, I'm not perfect. I'm really not. And I'm not doing this. And then I also do the same thing that you do, especially with the homeschooling right now. And, you know, looking at like how much time are they supposed to be doing it and when are they supposed to be turning this in? And I'm not an organized person. I know I might look like one, but I'm so not organized. And then when there's pressure around organization, especially with my kids and homework, I don't do well at all. And I have to own that with my kids. If I don't own it with them, then it's the same thing. It's like I'm spending so much up here, and what they get is they don't get a mom anymore. They get a dictator, they get somebody who's controlling, they get somebody who's not present. And then everything just stinks. So one of the big things that I totally believe in is repair. When we make a mistake, so often we feel so bad about the mistake, we walk away, we leave it, we don't come back to it. But repair is the number one way to create intimacy and trust in your relationship with your kids, and by the way, with your significant other, and by the way, with your friends. It creates trust and intimacy, it does. So my next question, when was a big mistake that you made, an epic fail? What was an epic fail that you had that you were able to create into an opportunity for you and your kiddos?
The first one that comes to mind was when we first, what, the first one?
One.
Right. Well, it's funny because I talked about this with my oldest, and I'm like thinking about, I said to her, I'm like, you know, we're going to probably, maybe we'll talk about like how I mess up and what do we do about that? And she's like, oh, this is going to be good. Like, what are you going to pick? And I didn't get like upset about it because it's true, right? Like, I'm not perfect, and we talk about it. So when we first decided to stay home, right, all this COVID-19 started, and I was really not prepared. We were going on a trip to see my parents in South Carolina. So I had told my kids, my family, like, eat everything in the fridge because we're leaving. Like, our fridge was bare. All of a sudden we're like, oh, we're staying home 2 days before we left. And I hadn't prepared. I like to prepare for stuff in general. And so for me, you know, I'm checking in with friends. What are they doing? And then comes the flood of like the color-coded schedules on Facebook, or like the posts on Instagram of like people doing stuff. And I was just like, oh my God, like, I don't know how to do this. Like, I'm not prepared for this. And there was this night where like I was a bear. Like, I was overwhelmed. I couldn't figure out what the heck I was doing. I couldn't get food delivered because I had just started all this chaos. Right. And we're in the kitchen and my kids are trying to talk to me about dinner, and I was just not having it. I didn't want any opinions. I did not want to be in relationship pretty much with anybody. And it was clear. Anybody that talked to me, even my husband, who was like, wow, I'm just going to be over here. And, yeah, I was just like I was ripping into anybody that came close to me. I was just not pleasant. So, do you want me to tell you how I worked that out?
Yes, because I think you're probably echoing so many stories and so many homes right now. So yeah, how'd you work it out?
Because like my husband, who made the choice to sit on the couch in an effort to kind of like give me space, I was like, oh no, he's not. Like, is he taking a seat to watch this? Like, you know, I just went into it. Like, I was deep. So I walked away for a little bit, and then I was just getting really clear about how what was happening had nothing to do with my kids. It had nothing to do with my husband sitting on the couch. It really was me trying to grasp at the straws of control that I felt were like slipping through my fingers, and I just had no perspective at all. So when
I'm gonna ask you one of my questions.
What?
The feeling of control, you're not being able to grasp onto control, right?
Mhm.
How did it make you feel underneath that? What was the feeling?
Oh, I was scared. Um, I felt like crazy, like a crazy person trying to like do it all and make it look good. And I couldn't. And I felt like I was failing and everybody was watching. That's what it felt like.
Yeah. So the reason why I asked that question is because I think for so many of us, we see our partners sitting on the couch and it now becomes the focus of look how you failed me. Right. And you look at your kids and you're like, why can't you guys just pull it together? What is wrong with you guys? And what is wrong with you? When the truth is in that moment, when we're spinning, it's really that we think there's something wrong with us. Like I'm failing. I'm scared. I'm not doing this right. Somebody might notice that I don't have the right color coded chart here.
Right.
Then what are they going to think of me?
God forbid.
What?
God forbid, right? Then what are they going to think of me? So I wound up, I still put my daughters to bed, and I sat with each of them. My two older ones, I had a different conversation than with my 4-year-old, but I was like, oh wow, like I am really sorry for how I just handled that. Like that was not my best self. Like I was unkind. I didn't listen to you. Like I'm really sorry about that. And I feel overwhelmed. Like I didn't want it to just be like, oh, I'm really sorry, I'm a bad mom. It was, I'm really sorry, and it's because I'm feeling overwhelmed.
Yes.
Like creating a context
Yeah.
for what happened, not that it was just me being crazy. No, there was like a thing and it was my stuff, and owning that it was mine. And my two oldest, they know really well what works for them when they want to like kind of be more in relationship with me. For one of them, it's being playful. My 7-year-old, like grabbed this spider she loves and she's like, okay, be Cobb. That's his name. And she just started talking to Cobb about all the things she was thinking about me. And I was just being Cobb, listening, right? So like that's how she wanted to repair it. And that's how
Did she
we
say
repaired it.
things that were,
Oh yeah. She's like, mom was all uptight. Really? Why was she so uptight? Well, she said she was overwhelmed.
how
What
old is
do
this
you
child?
mean?
How old is this child?
7.
7.
Yes. Oh my gosh. All roads lead to like play for her.
Wow.
Yeah. And so we
Basically,
did that.
we were like having this conversation, but she was making it easier with like the puppet to help her. Wow, that's so cool.
It's pretty cool.
What's cool that you could take it.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's taken a lot of work, right? This doesn't like happen.
Right. No.
Like the power of choice, there's work that comes from really wanting to not get somewhere, but like I could always see that there was more available. I didn't know how to get there. Working with you, right? I'm getting there, and it's different every day. It's totally different every day. But yeah, I think listening to her and knowing that play is really what repairs relationships with her. And my oldest just
How
wanted
did
to,
you notice that though, Kristin? Like where did you come up with the awareness that play was important to her specific personality?
so that's come through the work that I do with Hand in Hand, which one of the tools is play listening, where our kids like have a little bit of the upper hand and they're the ones directing the play, and we're promoting, like not promoting, but we're looking for where the giggles are, like where they can release that tension, where they can feel the connection with us by taking that bigger role in play and directing it. So when I noticed that is a huge like access point to connecting with her,
Right.
like I just know that about my relationship with her, that if I want to change a behavior, I can go to play. If she's looking for something, it's and she shows me what she needs pretty clearly.
How?
Well, she's pretty upfront, number one, for what she needs.
Love those children.
Right? I mean, she'll be like, oh, this is not working for me. Like, can we do something else? Or why are you uptight? Like, she'll just call it. And
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of how she just loves using those stuffed animals once in a while to be like, to bring more of what she wants to say out. And that works for her. It won't work forever, but it works for her now.
So then how did you navigate it with your eldest?
My oldest, who will be 11, is more into just be straight about the conversation, right? Like what happened. And it's important for me to let her know that it's not her fault when it's my stuff, right? And I can, because she's older, I can have that conversation with her, like, this is what happened, and what would be great is if we could do this differently next time, right? Because there was an element there that they were a part of. We co-created this moment.
Sure.
And she hears that, and she can, that's kind of where we were in that conversation, because she's older. She doesn't.
But it's two different personalities too.
Totally.
Your girls.
Totally. Like what works for my 7-year-old, like, is not so funny and fun for my 11-year-old.
Right.
So I just, unless she leads me in that direction, that's what she wants to do.
Right.
To connect in that way, I don't really, it doesn't end well.
And that right there, it sort of brings us full circle back to the whole comparison thing of when we compare ourselves to other moms and other homes and how they're doing it. When we compare our kids, it's just as harmful, because our kids have such different personalities, who they are and how they need to be met. It's just different. And part of, present day parenting, if you will, in being present to your kids is noticing, oh, this works for this one, this doesn't work for that one. Oh, this child, from what I'm hearing you say, your oldest is like, takes things on personally, like things are her fault. And that is something when we have a kiddo, that was me growing up. It's still me. I still take things on like everything's my fault. And when we can help our kids at a younger age, identify that and work with it, then they grow up and they don't have to grow up like me, still feeling like things are my fault all the time. So it's just this really wonderful gift when we can be present to our kids' differences. And then we can also, I love this part in families, is share with our kids like, oh, your sister over here loves and does it this way, and she does and loves it over here this way. How do you guys meet in that? And how do you help each other? And you show your kids not the comparison of fault, but the comparison of strength. Here's where you guys are so different and strong, and where you can help each other. With my kiddos, I would always say to them, I'd say, okay, my son is now 10 and my daughter's 14. I'd say, you guys, this is the way you work. You're going to be out there playing in a field one day, and you're going to be running and running and running. And Ryder, my youngest, is going to be running over to the cliff and running. And his sister's going to grab him and go, no, not safe, not okay. And then you guys are going to come back to this meadow, and you're going to be running and playing. You're going to come to the cliff, and Ryder's going to turn around and say, sis, it's time to jump. Mm-hmm. That's their different personalities. And when I help them see that, then they go, oh, I can use you to help me, and I can help you. And they can start seeing the beauty of their differences. Okay, last child, what'd you do with your 4-year-old?
I exaggerated how horrendous, in a funny way, that I was behaving, right? And she was just like, she laughed. I mean, she didn't need a whole lot. It's, to me, it seemed like she didn't need a whole lot, because she was pretty engaged and she really wanted to repair it. And she really was like, what was that? And so when I brought like my theatricalness to it, she just like laughed. And then I was like, wow, that was, wasn't that really crazy? And she's like, like, they know. They know. And it honors them, right? When we care so much about the relationship, to acknowledge when we messed up.
Yeah. And the one thing that I know from my practice, not only working with kids, but parent with adults, and the adults that I work with we'll look at memories that happened a long, long time ago. And they can actually put a better voice to their experience that they had when they were younger. Like, it's hard with our littles to be like, so how did that make you feel? I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Or they'll say it in a different kind of way. That's harder sometimes for them to point to it, but adults can really point to it. And I had a point and I just lost it. What was I saying?
You're talking about working with adults and going back to memories from childhood.
Yeah, the thing that the kiddos especially will share with me is something happened in the home and my mom lost it. It must be my fault. I must have done something wrong. Because my mom came back in later and was either like didn't speak to me anymore or just pretended like nothing happened. And the pretending like nothing happened leaves a kiddo with the residue of the panic that they generally feel when we go crazy. It leaves them with a residue that they don't know what to do with. And they honestly, they don't want to put it off on you because they just love you so much and they want to keep you in this image of where they want you. So they take that residue on as theirs. Now, us parents not repairing, we're not doing anything wrong. I mean, it's not like, oh, I just want to keep residue on my kids. But now that we know this to be true, we have an opportunity to go, you know what, bud? That's not yours. Like that feeling, it just doesn't belong to you. It's mine. Totally mine. It's something that I did.
Yeah.
And again, the 3 different personalities and how we meet our kids it's just so important.
Yeah. Well, okay. Can I tell you how I repaired it with my husband?
Yes.
Okay. Because I don't want to just leave him sitting on the couch, right?
Thank you. That was so kind. Go.
So I went to him and I said, honey, I got to clean it up with you. Like, own that was awful. I was not coming from love. I didn't want to listen to you. Like, I just saw you as against me, like just named all of it. Right. And and I did, I said, I'm really sorry for that. Cause it didn't come from a place of love at all.
Yeah.
And what I need from you the next time when you see me that way is, would you please just, if you can, just ask me to go upstairs, ask me to take a walk around the circle, like something, just like a pattern interrupt, right? Something for me. And he's great, because that happened over the weekend. I was just feeling exhausted, tired. I was a bear. And he's like, hey, how about you go upstairs, take a nap, watch your show, whatever it is, go for a run, whatever. So it really created like a whole new, like, I want to say like depth in the relationship that we didn't have before.
And again, that sort of, there's an opportunity to go, I took an epic fail and made an epic repair. And we can look at the stuff that goes on in our relationship with our kids and our partners as these really bad, awful things, or look at them as, okay, this is an opportunity to go back and figure this out. And you said something really important in there, which was, you said a couple of things. And I know if my mother's watching right now, I've touched my neck and my nose, and she's probably thinking, COVID, get your hands off your face. And I'm just saying, hi, Mom, I know, and I'm doing what I'm doing. Anyhow, it gives us, you owned it, you took responsibility, right? With your husband, we're going to husband now. You owned it, you took responsibility, and then you said, and in the future, can I tell you what I need? Like, that's huge. But first you have to know what you need.
Yeah.
Right? Like you need to know, like, here's what I need from you next time. Not you jerk and you're this and you're that and you better do this and I need to own this and now tell you what I need in the future. Because when your husband hears you speak that way, what happens?
Oh, he was, and this is how he is in life, though. He's pretty, he's understanding, and he listened and he said, great, like, I got your back. Next time I'm there. I'm going to do this because it's going to work for you and it's going to work for our family. Like, clear communication makes a big difference,
Yeah.
of what it takes something to know what you need. I don't know if a few years ago I could have done that. It took some work, some looking, like, what do I really need?
Right. Yep. And practice.
Yeah.
Practice. And the other part about that too is when he goes, I got your back. Mm-hmm. What does that do for you to hear those words?
Oh, it's like the tension, right? The tension is gone. Like the making myself wrong is gone. I feel like I have a partner in this, that I'm not just doing it on my own. Um, I just, yeah, it's like makes life so much more workable.
Right. And for parents who are either separated or divorced or don't have somebody to help them at home, I can share with you what Kristen is sharing about how she meets her kids and does the repair and communication. That gives a sense of relief too. And it really does. And what starts to happen is you and your kids start realizing that each other has each other's back. You know, it's not that you're not completely alone in this. You're not. And I'll go back to when Kristen was sharing that she reaches out to friends to talk about things that are going on, and reaches out to somebody who might be able to help her work through that, because we all need to know that we're not alone in this. We do, whether you're with a partner or without.
Yeah.
Anything else you'd like to share, Miss Baltimore? Because I want to interview women from all over the world in different states, because the thing is there's a lot of cultural things that affect how we parent our kids. There just is. So it's really going to be interesting to hear how other people are bringing this into play in their home too. Like, what do you do? You know. So anything else you want to share?
That's what I share.
Oh, I do. Wait. So you also mentioned hand in hand.
I did.
Kristan is not only amazing, what did I say, mother, woman, wife, friend. She also is a practitioner of hand in hand. Which, will you tell us a little bit more about that? Because there's really cool stuff in that.
Yeah. Okay. So Hand in Hand is a nonprofit based in Southern California. And what our work is we support parents when parenting gets hard. We teach families 5 concrete doable tools. I've talked about it a little bit, about the play and the play listening, about having a listening partner. So the work that I do in Baltimore is I co-lead a 6-week class where parents get to learn these tools. Each tool a new week. We come back, they get to share about how it went. We can offer some guidance on how to use the tool differently the next time. But what I love so much is that it's a community that just wants to support and make families as connected as they want to be, right? Like as whole as they are already, like just amplify that, just bring more connection, especially right now when we're all home. It can feel harder, even though we're all in the same roof, to be connected. And if I didn't have access to these tools, if I didn't know about them, I don't know if I could have generated so much play. So
Right. And you're doing a workshop, this Thursday night, April 20th?
So this Thursday we have our first starter class. It's online, so parents will watch videos, and then we meet as a group once a week just to go over a little bit of the material and to provide a lot of listening support. And let's see, I have like a few spots left if anyone's interested. It's parents all over the United States. Usually I do it, in Baltimore, but now I have an opportunity to like work with all different areas, which is pretty awesome.
It's really awesome. And you're doing that Zoomish too?
Zoomish?
Zoomish?
Yeah. Oh, I like that. Yeah, we're doing the Zoomish thing. But
We're
it's like 90 minutes at the most, right? Like it's really about providing support, because it's so easy to feel isolated and alone. Like you mentioned it, like we think everybody else is doing it so much better, or and it puts our parenting in a context. Like everybody else is having a hard time. Everybody else is having a lot of wins.
Yeah.
It feels so good to hear that.
Yeah. And also learn how to do wins in your own home too. So then if someone's interested in well, here's another question. If they can't do this Thursday, are you going to be doing any more?
Yeah, I mean, we could do tons of them if we have enough parents who want to participate. We run it in groups of 6 at the most. Yeah.
And I love that you only do 6, because you were sharing about, again, the intimacy of being able to make sure everybody feels heard.
Yeah.
And have an opportunity to participate. I just love that, because some of these groups can get way too big and people can feel lost. So how do people find you?
How do people find me? So I'm on Facebook too,
Mhm.
Kristin Katz, Hand in Hand Parenting. I can also give you the link, and
I
I'm
think
not
I typed it
Facebook
somewhere.
savvy.
I'm not sure where.
We'll put it somewhere, and they can find me that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, thank you for your time. Look at, see what I did with that, my hair? I'm sorry, Mom. My mom always said to me, put your hands down. Even one point she made me sit on my hands when I was a kid and I couldn't speak. It's part of my personality, right? Sorry, Mom. I just never gonna change. Um, so thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. I love your wisdom. There's my doggie. Can you see her? And that's the other thing. Don't get things perfect, people. Just stop trying to make everything so damn perfect. If you're working at home, your kids run into your office, you know what everybody else is telling me? No problem. They're so thankful because their kids did it too. And then they feel so much better. If your dog runs into the room, if your cat walks across your computer, everybody, look, this is the time of forgiveness and recognition and understanding and love and compassion and connection. So just let it happen. Because you're fine and we're all fine. So thank you again for being here with me. I am going to be doing these interviews once a week. If you have a lovely story that you would like to share about maybe an epic failure that you had and an amazing repair and opportunity, please let me know. You can contact me at my Facebook page, Untangled Mom. You can also reach me at Kristine at KristineLackey.com. I'll put information below. I'll also put some information for Kristan. And when I say below, I'm not quite sure what that means yet because I'm still learning this technology thing. I'll get it more together next time. All
Our
right.
kids will show us.
I
They'll be
think,
like, "Oh, it goes right here, Mom. Don't
yeah,
you know?"
yeah. My daughter gets embarrassed for me when I try to do these things. She's like, oh, really? But hey, I'm humble. That's part of it, isn't it? Let's be humble. All righty, Kristine Lackey, Untangled Mom, Kristin Katz, Hand in Hand. That's Kristan, Katz, Kats. If you look for her on Facebook, and I don't get anything in writing because I don't know how to yet. And yeah, I think that's a wrap.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye. Let me figure out how to stop this now.
Are we still on while you do this?
I don't know. Bye.